Hello, I'm Jeremy, and I want to talk about a video done by ReasonTV where the government is just writing out checks to people who do not need them. And it's just clown world. It's just ridiculous. And so I like ReasonTV a lot. They had a magazine, they started off with that, and they go over all the problems that are kind of going on. Well, not all of them, but problems that are going on within the government, mainly. And in this episode, it's about a 5-minute clip. I have a link in the description below to that. And also, we're going to talk about the sugar industry and how they were paid off in the 60s. And I have a link in the description below for an article relating to that. And so you can get some information. So if the article isn't enough, type in some key things like names and dates, and you can pull up more. And also, they have on Reason TV this guy, Remy. He's a bit of a comedian, and he does these little parody songs. And I have a link in the description below with this Old Town Road song that he sings. And it's just funny. It's only a couple of minutes. And it's talking about how stadiums never end up covering the costs for them, that they don't generate revenue. And it's because, yes, obviously, because how many games are there and then it just sits there and it does nothing. It's not generating any kind of money whatsoever. And I have a personal story about that here where I live, where guy was wanting to do the same thing. I knew him because of some construction that I had him doing for me. And then the nuclear power thing that they were talking about, and in Texas City, how there was in April. Well, I'll get to that here in a little bit. So before we get started, hit the like button and subscribe. I really need the help. I appreciate everyone who's viewing. Go ahead and do a couple of things. And if you change your mind, you can always change it and unsubscribe. It's not a hard thing at all. And then whenever I've really gotten going, then I really need people to become members, so then I can have constant generated money, so I can hire people so they can do more content, and so that I can build a website, so I can stop with all this lying nonsense. So I don't understand how it's gotten so bad. It's like these companies don't need help. They don't need help. I don't give a damn who they are. Here's an example. It's that whenever you're at Walmart and they have those places that you can go, what do they call those? Those automated tellers, those automated self-checkout lines that you can go to and you can check yourself out. That saves them a lot of money. So, for example, there's a Walmart that I go to, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's kind of in a square, and then 2 lanes. So there's at least 6. And then at the other entrance over there's 6, so there's 12. There's at least 12 of those stupid things. They run 24/7. They never have to worry about 401ks, medical, vision, dental, sick leave, retirement, nothing. Yes, it might cost like $75,000 to put one in, but it replaces 4 people. So if you hired 4 people to work 24/7, then they would be, I think, 2 hours short of being able to do the full work week. And then you don't have to mess with, so it's 4 people times 12, so that's 48 people. That means that you don't have to hire as much for the HR department too. The supervisors, you don't need as many of those either because it's 48 people. And so this also means less in lawsuits, because you're never going to have a problem with any kind of discrimination or sexual misconduct or anything like that going on. So your legal expenses are going to be less. It's just so many things that this affects. So why do big companies of any kind need this stuff? Because we have all of these modern technological things that are going on that are replacing people. So it's happening for everyone everywhere. You know, it's like people that go in and work in car factories, for example. There's a lot of it that is just done by those big yellow robotic hands, and it picks things up and moves things around. You don't have the people involved with that anymore. And if you're just paying someone minimum wage, I calculated all this up on the calculator for minimum wage for 4 people per week, and then however much that is a month. And it ended up where in less than 2 years, you'd already paid off, just off of their wages, or about 2 years, where you had covered the cost of one of these stupid things. That did not include all of the benefits that were needed. They never show up late. You don't have to worry about working around their personal life schedules with their spouses, their kids, their boyfriends, girlfriends, married, unmarried, whatever. You don't have to worry about anything. They're always there. They never leave. There's no complaints. There's nothing. So it's ridiculous. You know, this is what I was talking about before. Whenever my dad was a kid, you know, for a nickel, he could go off and elementary school, kid. He could go and he could get a burger and a Coke and either fries or chips and a candy bar. We can transport stuff around better and easier and more effective and efficient than ever before. So why has it gone up whenever we can do more and better and for less? It's because of the government. It's because of crap like this right here. These companies don't need a damn thing. I don't understand why this isn't illegal. It's like, you know what, if they really need money for this stuff, why can't they fundraise their own damn money for all of this stuff? It's like, no, absolutely not. It's I scratch your back and you scratch mine. Oh, you're going to give me all these breaks and these little perks, and then, you know what, I'm going to help you out with your campaign. I'm going to donate to, what was it, Hillary and Bill Clinton's, what's that charity foundation that they have where they siphon all that money? It's like, yeah, get the hell out of here with that crap. You know why? Because there's not good checks and balances. The founders were on the right path where they had checks and balances within the government, but there's missing a part, and that's the checks and balances that the people need to place on the government. And so it's dumb. A part of what I'm going to do that will absolutely be different is that I'm going to earn all of this through my content, through my members, and I'm going to do fundraiser stuff. I'm not taking a damn penny from the government. No, I take that back. I might, just to screw them over. I would love to see it collapse. It's like, no, I'm going to expose it all. And man, what better proof than, well, here's what you did for me. Just like what Trump did. It's like, he's like, yeah, I bribed all of you and you took it and you didn't argue and now you are. It's like, yeah, oh man. Tell you what, there's some, Trump says some things. It's kind of like, why did you say that? You know, it's like, yeah, it's too much, bud, you know. And then, so they talk about the farming scandal and how farmers get subsidized for farming. And I know all about this because I have a lot of members in my family who are farmers. And it starts back with my grandmother. She told me that whenever she was a little kid, she bought her first pair of shoes because she had to go work out in the fields, and it took her 2 weeks. And she was like 4 years old whenever she was doing this. You know why? Because it's not the same as it is today. Whenever she was a little kid, she remembered that they were still going around on horses. They didn't have electricity, so that means that they weren't sitting around playing video games, watching movies, TV shows, or any of this stuff. What do you think kids did? Just sat around with their thumbs up their butt? No, they were working. You can Google it right now. You can Google kids in coal mines because they're black and white photos. And it's like, what else were they going to do? They worked like everyone else. It's ridiculous. And so, yeah, that's what she had to do. And it's her and several other people in my family, lots of them, farming. And they talked about this, about how you can get paid for not farming your land. It's like, you know, if you can't make it farming, then that means you go under. Just like every other single business out there, and you've got to figure something else out. And you know what? You can do it. People do it all the time. This is one of the things that I do want to focus on with the site, and that is I want to be able to help people to be able to transition into other jobs, because this is something that happens all the time because of technology changing the world that we live in. And so it's really hit low-skilled workers, you know, such as those little self-checkouts that I'm talking about with Walmart. But now it's getting to anything that is pretty repetitive. And so this means like a lot of stuff that's dealt with law and with doing your own taxes. You can get little programs and stuff, and you can do it for a fraction of the cost. Instead of hiring a professional to do it for you, you can just do it in the comfort of your home, because we have computers and we have the internet, so we can do it all online. And so, yes, we need to be able to do that. And the way that it's going to be done, it's going to be done by people. It's like, well, did you have to do it? Because people quit jobs for all different kinds of reasons. It's like, well, I had to move, or I just got tired and fed up with it, and I wanted to try something else. I've been learning this on the side, or this was an interest that I once had. People just don't do a new job just because they got laid off for some reason. There's plenty of reasons. And so it's like, all right, well, what did you do, and what associated with it? And so it's all going to be, I've got this figured out. So anyways, back to this. Farmers getting paid, not, it's just like so much is wrong with farming. It's like people who also send food over there to people in Africa who are having problems eating. It's like, no, they're not having problems eating. They're having problems doing their own farming. We need to send them the tools and the equipment and the knowledge so that they can do it themselves. But you have to send them the right stuff. So one of the things that they have is that with tractors and combines, for example, they have GPS satellite tracking in them. So then that way you can have your fields plowed and harvested, and you don't even have to be there. And it's out there in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing. Man, whenever I was a little kid, I went out there to the farms to help my cousins with this stuff, and it was boring. You were hot stuff if you had a tape deck, because back then there were no satellite radios. And so it was just a local radio satellite, or the local radio station, and that only went out so far. So if you were out there, you got nothing, and that happened all the time. And so if you had a tape deck in there, it was like, oh, this is great, because now at least you can listen to something. And it's like your mixtapes got old real quick. But it's like better than just listening to the engine run. It's like, yeah, whatever. So, and it's like, so you cannot send equipment like that to people in Africa, because whenever that stuff breaks down, what are they going to do then? You know, it's like, oh, you see all that stupid little crap. It's like, oh, we're giving them light, and we have a solar panel set up. And when that solar panel breaks, well, whenever there's some kind of problem, then what? Where are they supposed to get a new one? Where are they even supposed to get a technician to be able to come out and work on it? They're not. You've gone above and beyond their means. It's like, why not set it up so it's something that they can do? It's like they do have cars, they do have motors, so give them one that works off of some kind of fuel, so then that way they can go and get more fuel, and they can go call on a mechanic to work on it whenever they need it. It's stupid. It's virtue signaling. It's clown world. It's all right. All my stuff is on. It's all on adult settings on everything. So, and then talks about the sugar industry. There was a sugar industry scandal that went on, and back in the 60s, they paid researchers to falsify the information so that they could be selling their sugar to the entire damn world, because now there's sugar in everything, which is why I try very hard not to buy packaged products, because look on all of it. It all has sugar, every last bit of it. Here's a little piece of crap for you. It's like sugar has at least 7 different names, because they go in and they change the molecules in it just enough so that it has a different molecular structure to it, so then you have to call it something else. And this was something that I saw. What was it? Was it Jordan Peterson? I forgot where it was exactly. But they were talking about the problems with the drug war. And it was the same thing, that the reason why it's gone from where we only had like maybe 30 drugs that were illegal, now it's in the hundreds, and it's because they do the exact same thing. They go in there and they change the molecular composition of the chemical involved just enough, so then that way they get to name it something different. It still has all the same effects, and it's all just it's a lie. It's one lie after another. And so back in the 60s, they got paid off for all this stuff. And then it's at the same time, whenever they came up with that stupid, ridiculous food pyramid, which is all crap, it's nonsense, it's a joke. And so here they all are still doing it with this. And so again, I have a link in the description below to an article that talks about this, and it'll give you enough keywords that if you want to look for into it more, go ahead and do it. And then the stadium thing, you know, it's like, again, I've said before, the information is in to show what the effects are with this stuff. And it's like the same thing with these stadiums. And you can go watch that little song with Remy. He sings it pretty good. He does quite a few of them, and they're funny at the same time. So not very long, just a couple minutes. And the information is in. They know. So why does this continue to happen? Because every time, whenever all this stuff gets raised, I mean, don't think of it as, oh, well, your taxes only got raised, you know, by a little bit. It's like, no. So for example, you know, with this relief spending bill, you know, of $1.9 trillion, that's the number. Where do you think that comes from? All these numbers from all of this subsidizing spending and all these handouts and reliefs, you know, that's the number. Where do you think that comes from? It comes from us. It makes everything go up. Imagine if everything went down instead. It's like, it's much easier to handle. You know, part of the reason why some of these people are really poor is because they can't handle money. And you're making it too complicated whenever you increase the prices of everything. So I will have to say that this news about Mickey Mouse being subsidized, this one is a new one for me. I've never heard anything about this. It's not surprising. I have heard about Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, and he said that he was getting paid $45 million a year. I thought it was $65 million a year or so, but I don't know. Maybe things have changed with Marvel. They're not doing the big Marvel movies. I don't know what that is, but there's been a lot of scandal with Kathleen Kennedy and the Force is female. It's like, take your bigoted crap and go shut aside. So here's what real bigotry is. And so back in the day, whenever we used to watch TV and with the news, it would say something like, we do not discriminate against religion, sex, color, national origin, gender, genetic coding. And so all of these things have one thing in common besides religion. So I'm going to give you a moment to see if you can guess and guess right, just to yourself. Time's up. So the one common trait that they all have is these are characteristics that you have no control over. You have no control over where you were born. You have no control over the color of your skin, whether if you have heart issues that are related to your family, which is the genetic coding thing. If you're male or female, you have no control over that stuff. And so that's why you're a bigot. If you want to know who's a bigot, have them start talking about that stuff. You cannot change it. That's why it's absolutely worthless. There's nothing you can do about it. And you know what? I don't give a damn anyways. It's like, I'm a man and I'm white and I don't care. There's nothing wrong with it. You can bite me. Why would anyone else have that problem? It's because somebody screwed in their head. It's like, I'm not ashamed of it. And I've known plenty of people of all different shapes and types or whatever, and they've been exactly the same way, and good for them. And I hope you're that way too. So, you know, it's more of what Martin Luther King said, and that is, I live for the day, or I wish for the day where my kids are based upon their character and their values instead of the color of their skin. It's like, right, absolutely right. And you see this because, you know, you're not going to sell me for 1 second that black people are incapable, because they are all over the place doing all kinds of great stuff. Screw that crap. It's because of the person. There are black, white, men, women, straight, gay, who are absolute trash and really good at the same time, because it's the person. Yeah, I'm not buying any of this crap. No, absolutely not. So the nuclear power stuff, they talk about that and all the subsidizing that's going on with that, and that they have all these really old nuclear power plants and they're still getting subsidized for this stuff. And it's like, why? You know, so I live in Texas, and in Texas City in April 16th, 1947, and you can look this up if you're interested in more of it, there was a nuclear power plant that exploded. And one of the things that caused the problem was that they have all these little round gauges, you know, and so maybe you're familiar with them with older cars, you know, like they've got the little speedometer, you know, or the gas gauge or something like that. There's the same thing with all these little gauges monitoring the nuclear reaction power plant there. And they had, you know, rows and rows and rows and rows of these things. And, you know, with one of them's pointing in this direction, another one's going up, another one, and all different directions. And so you had to know what each setting and where each one was, and that's where they screwed up, because somebody just got a little too careless. And this is where ergonomics comes in. And they took a look at it and they said, well, how can we make this quicker and easier, more effective and efficient for people so that we don't have a problem like this again? And they were like, well, just turn the damn thing so then that way all the arrows point in the same direction. And so then that way, if they're not all pointing to the right, then we know that something's wrong. Oh, this one's too far down or too far high. We need to take a look into it and see why. It's like, yes. And then whenever you have this conformity that goes on, it's like, yes, it's a breeze, because we didn't look to money to solve the problem. We looked to ingenuity. Ingenuity is where you've made a process more effective and efficient than before. And whenever the larger the scope is, it seems like that is exactly where you want it. And so again, with driving, whenever everybody does the same thing, it makes it easier for everyone. And there are studies that show that whenever people are all kind of doing the same thing, it relieves your stress level, because you know what to expect from them, because they're all strangers and you don't have the time to get to know every single person that's out there. And so if you're wondering, well, why should you dress up and why should you take care of yourself? That's it right there. So yeah, and then this whole thing started with a book that came out that a couple of people were writing, and they talked about kind of part of the solution is having accountability and transparency with everything that's going on. And we're able to do this more effectively because of this new world of information that we're living in, which is exactly what he says. And it's like, that's absolutely right. That's what I'm going to do here, is that I want accountability. It's like, why do you need to be secretive? You're not doing some kind of top secret CSI investigation with foreign affairs or with the FBI or something like that. That is not what's going on. There's absolutely nothing like that going on with the football stadiums and sugar and agriculture and all this stuff. I need to know, because that is absolutely my money, your money. It's everybody's money. It's like, I did not do this so that all you fools could get rich. I did not do this to create a 1%. I'm not a part of this. No, screw that crap. So if you're tired of it, if you're fed up with it, then help me out, because we've got work to do and I absolutely need your help. And I wanted to give a shout out to Rebecca. She is actually my first subscriber there on YouTube. And I just wanted to give that to you. You deserve it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was exciting to see the first one. And so just a fun little shout out to you. And with that said, we're done. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.